Loading snacks.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Finisher Podcast.
Finisher. Let's get
Oh,
it.
Marcus, how are we feeling tonight, man?
But man, no snow, so like it's a good day. It's a good
It's
day.
it's a good day. The ice and stuff is finally starting to melt away. We can see the streets.
Yep.
Kind of. Some places they didn't do such a great job. But things outside are starting to get a little bit back to normal, so I'm happy for that. But as usual, once again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Finisher Podcast. However, you may be consuming this, whether you're watching it or whether you're listening to it on one of our platforms, we greatly appreciate it. However, you consume this content, always remember loadingsnacks.com. It's the best thing to keep up with everything Loading Snacks oriented. Talking about our conventions, all our shenanigans. It's the easiest way to keep up with everything that is going on. But for this particular thing, we are going to be talking about some wrestling as usual. And I thought now with the week past, I think this would be a good time to talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble fallout, and some of the repercussions and things it's going to happen because of what happened at the Rumble. Do you think that's appropriate enough for this episode?
I think it's a pretty solid segment.
Dig it. There's really only three topics that I really have for the Rumble. Two obviously with the winners of the Rumble, and of course, the repercussions of Gunther versus AJ Styles, which honestly to me is probably the biggest out of the three. So we're gonna save that because that one hurts the most a little bit to really go and say. But let us start first. Our winners of the Royal Rumble, both the men and women's, coming in the form of Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Roman was not in the circle of people that I was thinking that was actually going to end up winning the Rumble. I don't know how you feel. Roman wasn't in that bubble for me. So definitely a bit of surprise there. But now we're escalating Roman back to the main event of Mania once again. And we know already, he's making a choice. We know who he will be facing at WrestleMania, and that being CM Punk. As for the match itself, I'm not upset really with Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. Necessarily something we haven't seen yet, so I'm like, okay, cool. I'll run with it for now. Well, but I don't know how you think. Like, I feel like we're not going to see Roman again until like 2 weeks before Mania at this point now. I don't know. Like, how you feel about Roman winning the Rumble this year?
Like you said, like I definitely didn't expect him to win this year's Royal Rumble. Like I thought it was gonna go to host to face CM Punk and like anyone else, but uh, as usual, WWE is gonna do WWE things, and as long as like there's no stupid special stipulation match, like oh it's a Zebros match, like no, no.
Yeah, so I'm cool with the straight up Roman versus Punk. Like, it's just my only concern right now is obviously we know how Roman works. He's not a full-time scheduler and everything. So we know if he wins the championship, it's not like we're going to see him week after week, which I believe is a double-edged sword at times. Sometimes I don't want to say a cool thing, but it's a good thing when you're able to have someone off screen for a little bit, just as a little bit chilling off period to kind of let other people shine. But when it's your main champion, I don't know. I feel some type of way about that. Punk has been there week after week, consistent. He's defended the championship already a couple times. I feel if Roman does take the victory at Mania, we'll see him on the Raw after Mania. Potentially the draft a few weeks afterwards, but then it'll just disappear again. Not to mention, of course, if by chance he does get some other movie role or something potentially that could come up, that could easily pull him out of the showing for it. And I'm just looking right now, like, there's not even a real big story that you can really put around Punk and Roman. Other than the fact that, you know what, like Punk respects him. Like there's no war that we're gonna have to see going through. Because like let's be real, some of the best stuff with Drew McIntyre leading up to Mania is definitely going to be this man's pettiness. Like I'm eager to see that. Like it's probably going to come down to Drew and Cody, possibly. I don't know. I feel like maybe there could be a little bit of a curveball in there. But right now, I just don't. I'm not with the hype. There's not going to be. I feel like the hype that you could have around a main event with Punk and Roman. I feel like Punk could have almost challenged anybody else that's on the roster right now. Don't get me wrong. Roman's gigantic. I mean, the name is there. He's proven himself. I just don't know if the afterwards is going to be if he wins. Let me say it that way. If he wins Mania, I don't know if the payoff is going to be there as much. Punk wins it, we kind of are in the same place, but we get to see Punk move on and potentially have more feuds with some of the newer faces that are on Monday Night Raw. And that's not to say that who knows, we may end up switching championships by the time the draft ends up showing up on there. But I'm not 100% completely sold on Roman versus Punk.
Yeah, I mean, like the only thing that they are teeing up is the fact, like, hey, during this whole Survivor Series War Games thing, like we were supposed to be cool, and you didn't like. I shook your hand like a man, and all this. I was just like, feel like the story that's currently there isn't fully built up. Like, yeah, you can go back before that, and it was just like they had their problems, but then oh, you took your wise man. I was like, well, your wise man left for like five other people, so
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of shaky at best. And like knowing since it's Roman, I guarantee he'll be closing out at least. And then like that kind of leaves night two like up in the air unless they make it the main event for night two,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't see why because then you still have the main WWE Championship match that will happen at WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
which nine times out of ten should be like the last match if it's a well good story. So like I don't see them double booking that, which means then the women's championship match won't get top billing on either.
Uh, it's hard to say. Like I would like to see if things go to blow the way they probably would. Like the women's, I'm trying to think which one of the two. I don't feel like either one of the championship. Well, Stephanie, I think, has been doing a good job with the world championship. Jade has yet to defend her championship, which at this point right now is probably my biggest issue with giving her the championship. Like you've built her to look and feel as a champion, which I think they've done a an okay job. But you should be having her run through people like there's nobody's business right now. Uh, Jordan Grace showing up on SmackDown now, I think, is a credible threat to Jade. Obviously, our winner in Liv Morgan. Honestly, like I don't, in a realistic standpoint, I don't see Liv beating Jade. But I think there's a chance that Liv is probably going to beat Jade if she goes that direction. I think for her side, I'd be more interested in Liv versus Stephanie. I feel like has a little bit more of a draw to it, especially if you're having Stephanie potentially getting in the middle of like Judgment Day affairs and things like that. Potentially, you could easily tie her in probably to some more detailed elements of it, but I feel like you don't have that with Roman.
And
Like
like
we
right
hadn't seen
now,
Roman in a minute
stale.
now.
Like I won't let me rephrase that. I won't say stale. I would just say um just not on the bingo card for anybody.
Yeah.
Like man said like he's a part timer. Like he's doing other things, also his health and all of that. Got to make sure like that's still good and nothing's flaring up. So like it's a lot of moving parts. So him winning, I guess, is good for business. Other talent, even though the whole premise of this here this past like lead up to this WrestleMania is that okay, we are promoting fresh talent. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
but there you go, Roman Reigns win. That's on this Raw roster that was moved up. So it's definitely interesting. From Liv winning
Mm-hmm.
because he's been like runner up in like every single like main event type.
Mm-hmm.
Her winning is just like her flowers. So yeah, but at the same time, there were some pretty good contenders. Those last three that could have been in in the title picture. Shout out to my homie Sin because I actually thought it was your girl Tiffany that was just going to win it, and I was just like, here we go again. Like it's about to be that time again. So shout out to my homie, uh, pulling for your person. So
Yeah, because like I was like you go on like the newer up and coming talent. Like there's some of the newer talent that has shifted over from NXT that I think could have been a good play at being on the WrestleMania stage with Punk. Like I'm gonna be weird with you. Obafemi
oh
showing
yeah,
up as number like just in the beginning of the Rumble entirely, I was already like, oh, this dude is going a long way in the Rumble. I was like, my thought was gonna be it was gonna come down to like him and Brock Lesnar, like at a point, and it was gonna take like someone as massive like that to take out Obafemi. To my surprise, Brock getting eliminated and then just walking off like it was nothing. I was super surprised that Lesnar then ended up going back in the ring and just eliminating people for no damn reason at all. But I gotta give major props to Obafemi. I thought he had an amazing debut in the Rumble. If he would have won, granted, I wouldn't have necessarily saw him beating CM Punk at WrestleMania, but I think that could have been a little bit of a fresh type of take on things. Like, but we knew like he hasn't picked a brand just yet. He's been on Raw, he's been on SmackDown, just utterly destroying people. I think he's going to end up on SmackDown from the way things are playing out. But I've been very impressed by what he's done so far. I'm just, and we can move on to Live after this and because I'm not completely sold. And like right now, like I don't know what buffer we get in between now in WrestleMania. Obviously, we have a month in between because we got to get through March. So there's a very small chance that CM Punk could lose his championship before we get to Mania. I don't see that happening. But there's a very small chance that he could have a match with someone and lose that belt, which could easily turn the Mania match into a triple threat, which could make things a little more interesting, I think, because at least Punk could have someone weekly on screen to kind of have a mini feud with. But I feel like right now, if he did have a feud with someone, that would be, I believe, Backlash. Well, Backlash is typically after Mania, but for some reason, why do I feel like it's actually before WrestleMania this year? Because they've been promoting that. Hold on, I could be tripping. Um, no, Backlash is May. Okay, I'm tripping. Yeah, that's afterwards. I'm not sure what's in between right now, but I don't see CM Punk losing the
Elimination
championship
Chamber.
by WrestleMania because it would suck. Like obviously he got taken out of Mania last year due to an injury, still was there and caused Damian the championship or causing Drew to lose the championship to Damian, which is pretty funny. But I don't want to see Punk not miss out on WrestleMania again. So what we'll have to see how the build up comes because right now I'm not sold. I'm not bought into Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. All respect to him. I'm not fully sold on it just yet. Now, on the flip side, Liv Morgan. I think Liv has a lot more that they could do and work with her on which one she's going to end up choosing to be her Mania opponent. Um, Obviously, both Stephanie and Jade, she can easily create tensions with, build up week over week. Stephanie obviously is already on Raw, so we can easily tie her into the Judgment Day feud somewhere along the lines. Right
She
now,
already
I feel
the thing was she's feuding with Raquel, so she's already there.
so. We're looking at potentially like the breakup of the Judgment Day. Like that was supposed to be in the works a while ago, but obviously with Dominic having to be out, Liv being out at a point in time, those plans got a little ruffled. So I think now with obviously Liv and Raquel kind of at ends with each other. Um, Finn is literally like on his like, hey, listen, I'm just waiting for the one thing now that just pulls Finn out of the Judgment Day so he can go back to being on his own. Him when they were overseas doing the tour and he had his match and came out to his old school music was kind of like that first feeling of like, oh, granted he was in his home country. It made sense to use that music to be able to get the audience involved in everything. But I feel like that was still like used as a test to see if that Finn was going to have that ability to get back over again. You're in his home country; it's going to work either way.
Yep.
But I think we're starting to see the slowly that implosion again of the Judgment Day. Now, who knows? We could easily feed some of the newer talent into the Judgment Day, which I think could work. And if we're going to use the Judgment Day as like a feeding ground for some of those newer NXT stars to come up and be able to work with some veterans, some experienced people, I don't think I'll be too upset with that. Especially if we can somehow keep like Liv at the forefront for right now, and then maybe there'll be some type of other transition. I don't know, but Liv right now, I feel like her story is much more believable between either one of the two that she picks for it. Do you have a preference which way you would want to see her pick?
Nah,
Not so much.
I don't really care who she picks. To be honest with you, I don't care. Like I'm just keeping it a buck because like I know Liv is gonna make a solid performance. Like it's gonna be a good build.
Mm.
Um, and always Judgment Day shenanigans if it's still around, or we get the climax of the Judgment Day at WrestleMania, and that's when there's no more. Either gonna go, she's gonna win via interference, or it's just going to be them waiting to see happen. Doesn't really matter. Uh, I would say if she does choose Jade, it's kind of shaky. I feel like that's the more not easy choice, but the more predictable choice is that, oh yeah, I'll just choose Jade.
Possibly. I think if she picks Jade, if she beats Jade, that could be where the part of the breakup of the Judgment Day comes into play. Because at least at that point, obviously, she would have to shift shows, which would take her potentially out of the Judgment Day, unless by the magic of everything they end up drafting everybody over to SmackDown, or it ends up becoming a whole. So I feel like that is a possibility of working into the storyline a little bit more. But either way that she picks, I just think there's an angle that can truly be worked, that can unfold on TV weekly. Unlike Roman versus Punk, we may see Roman like another 2 or 3 weeks in between now and Mania. Like probably those past 2 weeks before Mania, we may get to see him consistently, but leading up to it, I feel like he's gonna be hit and miss coming in. So I'm eager to see though which way Liv goes, because definitely it could make her story much more worth being invested into. And the fact, like, and like I've been supporting Jay. Like I like what they've done, but I don't know what they needed. Like not having her defend her championship has been like how do you not have her defend? I feel like she should be defending on a weekly basis. She should be destroying people every single week, even if it is bringing just a couple people up from NXT that think they want to take on Jade and can do the trick. I'm be honest with you. Right now, I thought Lash had a really really good standout performance at the Rumble, and I thought for a minute I was like, yo, they really are about to have her make a move to potentially win the Rumble. I think she probably would be a better champion than Jade right now. Like a little bit better on the mic, maybe. In ring, I think she's better.
Yeah,
So And if we bring her over, they could somehow put her and Trick together. Like, I know we're doing the things with the couples and the team ups. Like, I mean, her and Trick versus like a Becky and Seth could be an interesting build up. I think there could be some potential in that, but Seth may be involved with the whole breaking down of the vision and all. Like, I don't know. That's been interesting, but we'll talk about that later. But I'm hoping that I kind of want Liv to go after Jade, and if she gets the championship, I feel like it makes it a little more of a level playing field that she can be on. Like Jade, like I keep saying, all this should be destroying everybody week after week,
Hmm.
but it's just not happening, and I think we're gonna have to move past that. I think you should have been having her run through people, but we haven't done anything but just have her just come out, call somebody a bitch, and walk off into the sunset. And that's kind of been her thing week after week.
Like
And
I get why they haven't had her run throughs because they want her to get more mic time, so that way she can get more comfortable. I guess in that aspect, maybe maybe that that was the plan. Just like okay, you're just gonna do all promo works now that you're champion, and then once we feel like you get your promo is up there, all right, now we can go back to like okay, just running through people.
but then she should have been on NXT. If we were worried about that, we should she should have gone to NXT. Like, I think she had the appearance, she had everything of the main roster, but if we were still afraid of that, she should have gone to NXT. I think on NXT they could have made her look like a god on NXT if they did things right, and then brought her to the main roster. But yeah, it's still shaky. So my hope is that Liv goes after her, takes her out, and takes the championship, and we build a couple of stories off of there. I wouldn't even be mad if Jordan Grace takes the championship off of Jade before we even get the Mania, and then Jordan Grace ends up being in the main event of WrestleMania. That I can get behind, but we shall see.
Yep.
But the biggest thing that came out of Royal Rumble night was AJ Styles losing to Gunther, which meant he has to retire. Now, we know how retirement goes when it comes time for wrestling, but it's been a long time since we've actually had like a retirement match in
Hmm.
WWE. So I was kind of on the fence, like, oh, you know what? There's no way that AJ's not going to end up being here for a good while. He's gonna win this match. I was for sure of it. Boy, was I so far away wrong with that. Um, I genuinely had probably the same look on my face that I had close to when the Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar, because it was literally like, hold on a minute. Like, we knew AJ's contract was coming up. We knew it was coming up, and he said that 2026 is going to be his last year. Now, my assumption, well, before I get to my assumption, I was for sure initially, after he lost that match, he was going to end up entering the Rumble, potentially winning the Rumble, which kind of keeps him around because he has that guaranteed shot at Mania. He win the championship at Mania, defend it until he lost, and then once he lost that match, that was like the send off into the sunset for him. I was for sure that was how that was gonna work. But then AJ wasn't even in the Rumble, which I was super surprised at. It kind of would have, I guess they were looking for like the full circle type of thing, you know. AJ made his debut in the Royal Rumble, so at least for his final match, at least was on the Royal Rumble card.
Hmm.
But I feel some type of way about AJ having to retire from the WWE.
I mean, I said it once that they dropped the ball. Like even if he lost, I would have like the light should have just went out, and then comes back up. You just see people pointing guns at Gunther, and they were just like, "Nah, he not going out like this." And then we could have had Bullet Club. Like, come on, like if that would have been the right way to send off AJ.
Yeah.
Like, you could even had like, well, you can't do Cody because he has a glaring tattoo on his neck, so we'll know it was Cody. But still, you could have been like anyone. Just pay the rights, like, hey, because you're gonna make the money back in sales, merch sales anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just like they just teed up the Bullet Club. Just the actual one time we get Bullet Club.
Yeah. And I think with AJ now stepping potentially, and this is where I'll get into what I think potentially we may be leading to. The Bullet Club train has officially gone now. Like, don't get me wrong, I know Finn is still there. God is there, but I feel like if you were gonna pull that trigger, pun intended, you had the biggest one of the biggest pieces of that puzzle that you could have ran with AJ, Finn, Cody, God. Like, elements were there, but we're just not visiting it. So the ship is coming sailed. But my assumption, because obviously his contract, I believe, runs out at the end of February. So we probably won't see any movement until the beginning of March at the earliest. It should be noted that normally when someone has to retire, they either leave their boots in the ring or they leave something of their value that they have on them in the ring. So AJ proceeded to take his gloves off and leave his gloves in the ring, which I think would have been the biggest significant thing for him, just with the P1 logo on his gloves. But he ended up just putting his gloves back on, throwing up the P1 and walking out, which to me indicates that, wrestling, like, he's not done. So it's looking like maybe AJ is going to plan like that world tour final type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do get to see maybe some rematches and some dream matches that we haven't seen, like, I think that's why we got AJ versus Shinsuke one last time in WWE, because their last big match on the main stage wasn't up to par on what we thought we were going to get from the two of them, and they ended up putting on a clinic in that last one, which I'm very happy that we got that do-over. But at this point, I see AJ probably not going to sign a long-term contract with anyone outside of the E, but I do see him potentially going to a few other promotions, AEW included. So AEW, New Japan obviously are going to be the biggest of them, just to have some run-ins with some old faces and potentially a couple new opportunities that we haven't seen to kind of get him to the point of being able to hang his boots up in 2026. Maybe even a pit stop in TNA. Like, obviously, he's going to be out of contract with the E. There's nothing that would stop him from being able to go back to TNA. I think TNA would benefit from having the likes of AJ on, even if he was there for like 2 months as a short form story. Could be a nice little plus for them. Being able to go back to New Japan, like, obviously Tanahashi's now retired, but there's still a handful of faces. Like, I would say over the last few weeks, we've seen a lot of people step away from New Japan, which is still an interesting thing. Some of their big names. But to be able to go there in AEW to take on the likes of, like, Will Ospreay. Like, a Will Ospreay versus AJ Styles match right now could be incredible. AJ versus MJF could be a cool thing to see. Now, I haven't talked about any of, like, the UK brands or anything like that, that if this is going to be, John Cena's final tour type of element for it, AJ's just going to have a little bit more freedom to do that on a global scale, which could be one of the
Kurt Angle's farewell tour.
kind of to give him that ability. Like, it would be really interesting to see. I just hate that we weren't able to get one more championship run, especially maybe with the World Heavyweight Championship with AJ. I think he's had a great career within WWE. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. There was a point in time we never thought this dude was going to set foot in WWE. Ever. Yeah. Ever. And when his contract came up from his time in New Japan, and obviously, it was right before the Rumble, and we're like, holy crap, this could actually happen. And it did. Honestly, they did a decent job at keeping that one a secret because there were no clear indicators that he was going to be making that jump other than just timing working out and just kind of putting two together. But when you can make something like that happen and it's organically received by everybody, like, it's incredible. But I am I'm sad to see AJ potentially stepping out of the WWE. But on the flip side, this dude Gunther has now become a career killer, and I don't I don't want to think that this is leading into, because, like, let's be real, Randy Orton was kind of the legend killer, that whole vibe and thing. And I'm feeling like this is where we're leading to. I don't want Gunther anywhere near Randy Orton right now. I do not want Gunther
Next on the list.
anywhere near Randy Orton right
Next
now.
on the list. Next.
Oh my god, because, like, I think Randy's got we got at least we have at least one more championship run in Randy, I believe. Whether it's this having fun type of Randy, or I don't know what's going to cause him to hear those voices again and turn back into the Orton of old. But right now, he would be, I feel like, on that short list of career killers that Gunther would go after, which
I would say Gunther should go after Brock Lesnar. Hire him permanently.
Oh my god. If
you want to make a star, have them retire Brock Lesnar. If that's what you're going for Gunther, Brock Lesnar should be his next target.
So it sounds like Gunther versus Brock at SummerSlam. Because is it 26 SummerSlam that's going to be in Minneapolis, or is it 27? I think it's 20. I think it's this year. I think we get. Let me see. SummerSlam 26. Yeah, Minneapolis. It's this year, so we may have good timing. And if Gunther's on that track record, Gunther may be the one to put out Brock Lesnar. That's going to be... Gunther's about to have a serious...
Down the beast.
It's going to have a serious list right now. So, that's going to be probably the only one that I'm not going to argue with. I like Brock Lesnar.
Hey, Jericho, just don't come back, bro.
Hey, Jericho, you may want to stay away.
Just don't come back.
You may want to stay away right now. But no, because he'll come back, and if he does anyway, he get inducted to the Hall of Fame. So, it's a win. It's a win-win. It's a win-win at this point. But if we go through who's currently, I would say, potentially on that legend status that would be on the way out, Randy and Brock would be, I would say, the top two contenders for that list. This one's going to sound a little funny after all that we've gone through over the last, but R-Truth, I mean, I'm happy we got him back, but what we thought we were going to get out of R-Truth, we're not getting. And that upsets me. After we got him back, it seemed like we were going to go through the Ron Killings angle and run through this, and clearly that just got thrown in the trash. So I want R-Truth to stay around, but if we choose people that are on that list of people, I think that could get Gunther even more hate. Like right now, taking out John Cena and AJ Styles is already an A-level heat that he has on his back right now. But to take out someone along like with R-Truth, who is loved by everybody, I'm talking like Dom level heat, which Dom's level of heat is currently unmatched that he can get. Maybe other than OG Grande Americano in Mexico right now, because they booed the crap out of him, which is actually pretty funny. But yeah, I think Gunther's going to be on a retiring streak for the next like year. But listen, if the name Randy Orton gets thrown around anywhere in there, I'm finna flip a table. I'm not ready for Randy Orton to step away from the WWE. Um, but Brock Lesnar, by all means, have that match and go ahead and retire him. Take out the guy that took out the Undertaker. I feel like you're going to get some cheers because of that. Um, but yeah, other than that, I can't think of anyone else that is. Oh, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio could be on that short. Could be on. I don't mean that pun intended. There's no pun intended in that one. Rey Mysterio could be on the short list for that one. Trying to think who else. I don't think anybody else right now currently is in that step away phase just yet. Yeah. So
Okay.
Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio. Those would be the three potentials that if Gunther was going to continue on this path, we could see go away in the next year or so.
I mean, Kofi is a solid person to be put on that list.
I don't think we'll see. Right now, the New Day is not in that light right now. So I don't think that would quite work out. I think that one would be like you would need to make Xavier and Kofi faces again. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think we're even going to see that again. At least until whenever their final time. I feel like with the loss now that we officially know that Big E has stepped away from in-ring competition, I think to kind of keep the two sides of the New Day separate, I do think they're going to remain in this heelish phase probably for the foreseeable future. I don't see the happy side of the New Day showing up until they do finally decide to hang their boots up. So, yeah, I don't think Kofi's going to make that list. Um, yeah, I don't think anybody else fits the bill right now. So, those will probably be my three that Gunther's probably going to challenge probably over the next year. Um, Brock will be at SummerSlam because it'll be in Minneapolis, so they'll let him retire him there. I guess Ray would be the next one up. You know I'm putting Randy at the bottom. Like Randy, I no time soon, but I'm eager to see how they work that through.
Yep.
But other than that, those are the three biggest things that we got out of the Royal Rumble. um, let us know your opinions. Do you feel the same way that we do about Roman Reigns winning the Rumble and probably not the best choice? Let us know in the comments below, and let us know where do you think AJ is going to land. You think he's going to go on that worldwide international tour, or do you think my man is actually going to hang the boots up and just go off into the sunset? Maybe a WWE Hall of Fame induction to keep him under a Legends contract so he don't go nowhere. I think it's a little soon for him to go in, but maybe so. And speaking of that, I feel like we should have had maybe a Hall of Fame induction announcement by now. Maybe I'm a little early. Like
Yeah.
obviously
Normally,
they
they
announced
went at the beginning of like the
they
Roman, like
announced yeah, they announced Stephanie like months ago
yep.
going in, which was just
I
completely
think like
way
right
out
now,
there.
there's only like two people officially inducted. It was like Stephanie and one earlier.
I don't remember either way. It was too early of an announcement, but I feel like now we're in the right playing field for where those should start. Like we got we're at the beginning of February, so maybe by week 3. No, I feel like maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll see the first one, and that'll kind of lead up because it'll normally be like 4 or 5 people, and we got to figure out who's going to
And
headline.
when they should just go ahead and induct John Cena into the Hall of Fame. Just go
That's
ahead.
who I that's who I feel
Go ahead.
like I feel like they should just go ahead and do. But knowing Cena, he's probably kind of like, no, just hold off on me for now and choose some of the other people probably potentially that haven't been inducted that have their time. I do see like a Batista probably being aligned to be at that point as well too potentially, but who knows? Let us know your thoughts too. Is it time for us to get some Hall of Fame induction announcements, or are we a little bit too early for it? Let us know in the comments. But we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Once again, appreciate you guys tuning in. I know this episode is a little bit late. I apologize for that. It's been a hectic last few weeks. That things happening in real life. Schedule
Yep.
not aligned. Like things happen, but we got to work through it. But I appreciate your patience in waiting for this episode to come. Stay tuned. If anything shifts outside of this, we will let you know. But as usual, we appreciate you guys tuning into The Finisher, however you're listening or watching this on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. For the homie Marcus, this is your boy Jokes. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. But Marcus, do me a favor. Tell the folks what they need to know.
Sure, of course. Just because your back is against the ropes does not mean you can't move forward. And with that, we're out. Hooters and lose.
Loading snacks.